So here is some more sycamore. It's very distinct peeling bark. Hopefully as I get closer you'll be able to see it, or as the camera does its adjusting. They can be very large trees, especially in some... Sorry, I'm trying to figure out this selfie stick, and I keep wondering if I push the button and turn myself off. I might have done that a couple times already. Sometimes these trees will be just huge. So these are not that big, considering. See that peeling? And I hope you can make out how it's pale up on top, but I'm afraid with the way the lighting works with the camera, you can't really see. So I'm just going to move on to other things, like let's check out this grapevine. I want to make, well, it's not alive. I want to make a point about poison ivy. Poison ivy has aerial roots, so you don't find poison ivy dangling like this typically. You find it attached to what it's growing on and connected by aerial rootlets. What we have here are tendrils. Now this is a dead vine, so I didn't realize that when I started talking about it, but there's your tendril. And then I see some interesting cotyledons down here. This is commonly found along the river. Cotyledons are the seed leaves. I'm going to sacrifice this one. There's another growing right next to it and others around. And a very important thing with plants is family level classification. So with families, you're going to make out certain characteristics that'll help you when you see a plant you don't know, or even if you do know it, when you first see it, you're trying to think, what group does this belong to? One of the easiest things to visually recognize is the family, once you start to get a knack for it. And of course, some are more common and easy and distinct, and some are smaller or less common, might be trickier. And that's also the kind of thing that's changing all the time. That's called taxonomy, when things are classified and named, and that kind of work is rapidly changing with genetics and other kinds of knowledge. So anyway, I wonder if anybody can recognize the family of this plant. And the reason I think that you might be able to is these are common vegetables. This is not so much a vegetable, largely because it's very bitter and also because it's spiky. This one is called burr cucumber. So this is related to cucumbers and squash, pumpkin, those kinds of guys. This will get viney like a cucumber, and it will produce a spiny burr and a burred cucumber, and that's very bitter. So I'm not familiar with using it, but apparently that was maybe a common bitter medicine used by the Native Americans. So it's one I'm very interested in exploring, and I would assume that it would have similar uses as the bitter melon used in Chinese medicine, which is also used as a food. Wonderful way to get bitter foods into your diet. But again, it's not just the bitter taste, but also the fruit isn't quite as fleshy, and it is covered with spines. So There's a few reasons why this one isn't used as a vegetable besides its flavor. Let's see. So now that gets a little more confusing because we have grapevines and then we have the bitter melon vine, and I'm looking for the remains of a fruit from last year, but I don't see one handy. We know it's here, so maybe I'll find it again before the end of this plant walk.